So, this morning, let's talk about nature. Let's talk about how much I absolutely adore nature. And nature for me can be just being surrounded by trees, fields. Do you know what I mean? We all know what nature is. And for me, it's home. For me, it's one of my most comfortable places in the world. I'm not a city person. I'm not. I don't necessarily relax when I'm in a city environment. But slap me in a forest or with some mountains or fields, and I just feel this wave of comfort, feeling comfortable. And to me, who knows? But I think there's something there. Mother Nature, there's like this aspect, there's this godly thing, this godly energy, this godly vibe, this bigger, it's something that's bigger than you. And whether that's what's calming, I don't know. But the reason I want to talk about nature is the house that we're buying, which has been 6 months since we've had an offer accepted, and we're going through a very long process. The house we're buying, it's got a bunch of trees that come with it. And I went and saw it the other day, and the trees have essentially been cut down by a neighbour because the neighbour wants to see the view. Now, all this time that they've been in this house, they've not been able to see a view because the trees have been there for 30 years. And, it makes me extremely sad when 30-year-old trees are cut down. They're cut down and they're dead. They're now dead. Now, for me, a main factor of buying this house were the trees. So obviously when I saw that, I'm like, God, I almost don't want the house anymore. I mean, we are gonna get the house, don't get me wrong, because you can plant the trees back. But for me, it's the fact that it's took them 30 years to get into that state, to grow to how they are. I'm 25. Those trees were 30 years old, and someone's just decided to cut them down so they can see a view that they've never been able to see anyway. That's not their land, and when you bought the house, that's the view you bought. So it's crazy to me, and I'm not this person that's gonna sit in the middle of the road, tie myself to a football net and start preaching about stopping oil. I'm not Greta Thunberg either. I understand that some trees do have to be cut down, and it's a managing thing. It's not overcutting, and it's necessarily not undercutting either. We shouldn't be cutting anything down, but if we have to, we have to. But in this circumstance, the reason it makes me so sad is because there's no reason. If it turned out that these trees were unsafe, turned out these trees failed different environmental surveys and tests and stuff like that, and they were rotting anyway or whatever, if there was a reason where they had to be cut down, I don't think I'd be sad. I'd be like, it's now your time. It's now, you've had a good run, 30 years. But because it's for something so stupid, it just makes me sad. It just makes me not understand. Do you know what I mean? Who wants to do that? Why don't you see the value in 30-year trees? And the reason I love them so much is because in my head I imagine just you're almost connected to nature when they're there. They're towering above you. Like I said, 30 years they've been there. They know more than you. They've been around longer than you. So why are we getting rid of them? And for me, it just changes the full vibe of the place when you get rid of trees. Like I said, we're going to plant some more, some that grow fast, hopefully, and get them back to where they were, and bloody block that view. Petty, but you know, that's what I want. I want those trees there, because for me, there's just something about being in a forest. There's just something mystical, and I don't know what it is. Probably never know what it is, but there's definitely something there, and there's always something to do with nature. You know, I've been listening to Graham Hancock on Joe Rogan and Modern Wisdom, and he's talking about a lost civilization 20,000 years ago, and how we might have been an advanced species then, in terms of tools and stuff like that. I mean, loads of different evidence of, you look at the pyramids, and you look at loads of different things. If you want to know, you got to listen to him, because it's his work, or he's preaching other people's work and his work. And whenever I'm listening to stuff like that, you know, they're talking about the Amazon, and they're talking about it could have held a population, I think he says 10 million. And that's 10 million people in just in harmony with nature. And I do believe that that's how we're meant to be living, somehow in harmony with nature. There's this pull that I feel, you know, I'm seeing trees now, I'm like, there's just some pull, there's just some sort of value that nature gives. And this just looks like just feels so much like there's so much power when it comes to nature. And when you look at these, you know, possible civilizations years ago, you look at it's almost the knowledge that they had was to work with nature. That nature was almost the priority. I mean, we are nature as well. We are just an animal that's, I guess, evolved, maybe. There's other theories on that as well. But, you know, we're an ecosystem. And Earth's almost this one huge ecosystem that works all in one. And it's almost about sacrifice. You know, you look at animals that die, you've got trees that die and refertilize the ground. It's almost like a sacrifice. It's almost like I'm giving back to everyone else. And these almost selfish acts of, well, I'm going to cut these down to serve me, to give me a view. It's like, that's not how you're meant to be. And I know not everyone sees the value in stuff like that. You know, people might just say, well, they're just trees, Jamie. You know what I mean? Just plant some more, they'll grow back. It's not a big deal. You can't even see them. But it's the fact that it's the timeline. It's the timeline. And also, the person that, I mean, the house is 30 years old. So the person that originally bought that house planted those trees. And for me, it almost symbolizes like a gratefulness or a passing down, because we just buy houses off people. We buy houses off people. We never meet the people. The two people selling this house, we've met one of them once on a visit. Other than that, you have no contact with them at all, which is crazy to me. You're buying that, you know, their dad's house who's passed away, and you have no contact with them. You have no connection with what this thing is. I mean, you think about your house that you've lived in. For me, the house I've lived in it for 25 years. It's got all my memories. It's got everything to do with me. My whole life is to do with the house I'm living in now. Now, I get the person that bought this house, it's not the whole life. But what as if it was their first house? Well, it won't be their first house, but it's their house that they're retiring in. It's their house that's for the end of their life, to settle down. And same with us, when we sell this house on, you know, this is our first house. It has memories, it has meanings to it. And we almost don't have any value on stuff like that anymore. There's no sentimental value to anything, because we just have no contact with each other when we're selling a house. And you know, these owners who have let the neighbours essentially kill the trees, they're saying they're not happy. But you've also took no care and attention in managing these, because of course, if you let the neighbours have free reign on something that's not their land, they're not going to give a shit about it. The majority of people aren't going to do that. So that's also a lack of care. So for me, when I'm seeing that there's a lack of care when it comes to nature, when it comes to something bigger than us, when it comes to something more important than us, something that's almost got us here, and we're all working together in a system, you know, they sacrifice, we sacrifice. It just makes me feel like, you know, what are you doing? You don't see the whole picture. You don't see what everything's doing. And like I said, I know things have to get cut down, and you know, if we're going to grow as a society, you know, you need land and you need to remove some stuff. Yeah, I'm not saying never remove a tree ever. It's just the way that it's done to me that matters, and the reasons for it. But yeah, anyway, it is what it is. But yeah, peace.